Hello, hello, hello. Got to turn the mics on, sitting here talking to my guest, Bob Aries in the house, Master Gardener. And I'm LaVern Vivio. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless. Welcome to it. One street over. What's happening one street over from where you live in? And Bob and I were just sitting here talking about how that the weather has just been kind of wet and wild and allergy driven. Now, honestly, though, the moisture will knock down the allergy issues, won't it? To some degree, don't you think? I mean, I kind of think it does. Kind of keeps the allergies down a little bit. Some of the moisture in there, I would think, would help us, but I don't know.
Well, all those particles that are floating around or have been floating around in the air, well, they're not floating anymore.
Exactly. Now, I was just saying before I finally turned the microphones on and let y'all in on the conversations, we had the wedding last week, and my husband and I both came back with something from it. And so we've been nursing that for the last week, but we have not had a fever. We've checked and all the things. So I think a lot of it, you catch like little viruses and then the allergies just kind of pile on. So I don't know, I'm ready for a bright, sunny fall day. Come on, we need it. I think tomorrow is going to be nice for Halloween. I'm hoping. So we're just, for the kids to get out and have some fun. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. And Lee Marie, she's like, we got to get Bob in here and talked about all the things for our yards. And I think there's a lot of us that forget that we do need to make this transition. There's things we need to do to preserve what we have to make sure in the spring it comes popping up like it's supposed to. Bob Airy is our master gardener. Works out at the extension office, right? Do I have all this right? You have classes that people can come be the UT extension office, which is where are y'all officed? Where are you actually officed?
It's at 408 North Main Street here in Springfield.
So right on the corner off downtown is where you can go in and come in. And I mean, there's all kinds of great classes you can get. You can be a master gardener. How many do we have around? I mean, we got a bunch.
We have about 60 active master gardeners right now.
Isn't that cool? So, I mean, if you want help with your gardening and all of that, and this is something, whenever I first got to Robertson County, one of the first things I did was call the extension office and ask about things to do with my trees and just different things that I knew I needed to be aware of if I wanted to have success with what I was, because, I mean, we came in and bought 43 acres that had been in large part cleared for farming. And we allowed some of it to reforest, and much to some of the farmers' chagrin, they're like, we could lease that and put some hay on it. Or I'm like, I just want trees. And so we let it reforest. And, it was really interesting to see what just came up that the good Lord planted. I would have loved a little more fall color. It just got a lot of the kind of yellow, kind of leaves, not that real deep sugar maple color. And it's so weird. I have sugar maple trees, but they don't have the vibrant color in my yard that they do around the corner. And it's so weird because it's the soil, isn't it?
It could be related to the soil.
Yes. Could be a lot of different things like that. So it's always just so interesting to learn this stuff. But I knew when I moved to town that I needed to call you guys. And I've had conversations with y'all over the years. If something will happen, I'll be like, hey, this is happening. What do I need to do? And y'all have just been such a wonderful resource. And we appreciate you.
Well, thank you.
So welcome to it. So tell me, are we expecting a harsh winter? What do you think? What is the forecast?
Well, the predictions that I've seen have indicated that we have a La Nina that's happening, and we're expected to be warmer. It's warmer, or at least a mild winter, and maybe on the dry side.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, that means
so. What does that mean?
No snow days, kids. I hate that because I'm a teacher. We love our snow days. We love our snow days
for sure.
But still. And I'm just kidding, but not really. We love to have just a little bit of, that little break in the winter. It's a lot of fun. I love snow. My kids are up, my son that just got married, he and his bride are in Calgary, Canada. And I'm so jealous. I want to go up there and play in the snow. It's just so beautiful. But I love a good snow. So you're saying we might not get it this
Well,
winter?
it's just I don't know. It's just so. If the weather just continues to be so variable, and an extreme one way or another, who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to really gauge it, isn't it?
I mean, and we've already had earlier in October, one of the mornings at my house. It was I live between White House and Portland, and the temperature was in the mid 30s, and really, I expected that there'd be a that would be enough of a frost that things would really well that would take care of my tomatoes, for instance.
Right.
Tomatoes are very sensitive, and when that first frost hits, that killing frost, they're done for sure. My vines are still green right now, and still flowering, have green tomatoes, so we'll see about continuing harvest. But most things are pretty much done for this growing season.
Right. As far as any growth, but what you were talking about, I had the same situation because I live down in the hollow. And so I'm going to be a few degrees, maybe just a degree colder than you would be up on the hill. And so I'm going to frost before my neighbors do. And I went out to my car one morning, maybe a week and a half ago,
That's right.
and I had ice on my windshield. And I was like, oh, my banana tree's done. And then I went around front to the house a couple of days later, and I'm like, still growing. I mean, and so it was really kind of a weird one. It was almost, it just barely touched that freeze point for just a minute before dawn, because I know I went out to my car, because like I said, we get up typically at 3:30 and we take a walk and we're early birds. And I remember us going out and not noticing ice on my windshield. And then it was at that moment before, it's just like that little spot of time before we start going into the sunrise where that frost will hit. And man, I had a frozen windshield. It was like, what? So, but I couldn't believe that the banana tree survived that.
Same situation at my house.
Yeah.
And typically the coldest temperature is going to happen just as we're making that transition from night to day.
And I did not know that until you told me that. So I sound like I'm super, up to date on it. Well, it's only because of what he said, because I didn't realize that. I didn't know that that's that cold point.
Yes.
And now we're also dealing with falling back on Sunday. Tell me this: are we falling back to what normal time should be, or when we spring? What's normal time? When we fall back, should that be what we stay? We should fall back and stay there. Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
That's the normal.
Okay. So Mayor Vogel was in here the other day and he goes, I want us to start calling right now that we just stay put. And I thought, well, if we stay put, we need to fall back and then not spring forward. Right? That would be putting us where we're supposed to be.
That's right.
Okay. So then nobody would like that either, because come spring, they'd be like, oh, I want that extra hour. I want that extra hour of daylight, because I love it. When we spring forward in the springtime and we get that extra hour of daylight when we get home from work, I'm just like, yes. And of course, when we lose it this coming week, I'm like, I just want to go to bed. When I get home, I just want to go to bed. It's dark. And it is so weird how the light affects you. Man, it kills my motivation. I can get up in the morning super early and I'm okay. But when I come home at night and it's dark, I'm just like, it's bedtime. I'm done. But, Paris, what should we do? What should we be doing in our yards right now to get ready for winter?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. And now we just have to wait for some opportunity to get back outside and do some things after this wet period is done. But it's a great time we were talking about vegetable gardens earlier. If you hadn't had the opportunity to kind of clean things up, and sanitation is something that's so important. And talking about tomatoes, that's one of the crops that I don't leave in the garden. When they're done for the year, I take the vines out and either take them to the compost pile or discard them in other ways. I just put them outside the garden spot because, typically tomatoes have some early blight, late blight, disease, and if those spores are staying with those leaves, and if you leave those in the garden, then you're just kind of increasing the population of those spores and the opportunity for the disease next spring.
Okay.
You know, for corn stalks or my green beans, I don't worry about that because they don't have that disease, and it's not much of an issue. Disease is not much of an issue for those crops. For tomatoes, you know, if you grow tomatoes, you're going to have blight sometime during the course of the growing season, and if we have a wet spring, that just makes it begin earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If we're not trying to protect our plants with a fungicide spray. So speaking of the vegetable garden and then moving into the landscape, well, it's kind of the same way. If I've gotten maybe I have some hydrangeas that have had some leaf spot, and that is a general occurrence too at the end of the growing season for many of them. Then as those leaves drop to the ground, if I can go out there with a rake and pick those up and take those to the compost pile, or maybe just burn those leaves because they have all of those leaf spot spores that are just going to overwinter. And even if I'm mulching my leaves, if I get those out into the yard, into the lawn, and then mulch them, which is great to do for most situations, then there's still going to be some population of those spores that are going to remain and then
Mm-hmm.
become active in 2026.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when I think about all that, you mentioned hydrangeas.
Mm-hmm.
I have got my mother's hydrangea that after she passed, and it was her mother's hydrangea, and I've got a start of it, and it's there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not doing anything. And then I've got a hydrangea that I planted that I got up at Corbin years ago that it's just never doing anything. And this is the one that I got at Corbin. This is the second location I've had it in
Mm-hmm.
because where it wasn't doing anything. So I moved it. And I moved it to an area where I could kind of protect it and keep an eye on it a little more conveniently. And so when I moved a clipping from mother's and my grandmother's, I put it right there by it. And I just don't really know what to do with them because I see beautiful hydrangeas all over the place. And I wonder sometimes if my yard's just not a hydrangea yard. Is that possible?
Well, hydrangeas are influenced so much by their setting and where we place them. So
Mm-hmm.
some of them enjoy more shade than others, and the others, enjoy full sun. So it's just depending on their different types of hydrangeas, and so their growing environments need to be different, and some appreciate the sage. Some also bloom on buds that were set in the previous year, and then some like limelight, which is really a popular one, blooms on the current year's growth. So that's like crepe myrtles. Crepe myrtles bloom on current year's growth. So there's a general guideline. It's just, and there are always exceptions, but generally, if you have something that blooms before July the 4th or July the 1st, then they are blooming on buds that were set in the previous year.
Okay.
And then after those shrubs and trees that bloom after July the 1st, generally they are blooming on buds that were set in the current year on the new growth.
Okay.
And for some hydrangeas, especially the ones that have the pink and the purple, depending on the acidity of the soil, big leaf, they're in the big leaf hydrangea family, and they're blooming on wood and buds that were set in the previous year. And where we are in this transition zone, many times we will have that hard frost or hard freeze really in January, February, and it might, if it's cold enough, long enough, then those buds will be killed.
Oh.
And so that's why many times we're disappointed because we have this hydrangea that looks beautiful and the big leaves are nice and it's just wonderfully full, but not a single bloom. Or you might end up with, and many times we do end up with just a singular bloom or two or three that are small and not happening at the normal time. It just happens a little bit later, but that's the plant's response. So,
Huh. Okay. And I guess hydrangeas is one of those that I always thought that. I mean, it looks like it just completely dies, and you know what I mean.
well, they're deciduous, yes.
But so you don't break away that wood that's there. Is that I mean those the what looks like dead growth? I thought you always got rid of that. You don't?
No. Well, if you determine that it is dead, we always remove the dead and we always remove diseased.
Okay.
So if we determine that that's going on, otherwise, for those early bloomers, the ones that are blooming on buds that were set in the previous year, if we're going to prune those, if we need to kind of tame them a little bit and bring them down in size, then we need to do that after they bloom in the spring and before they start to put on their new growth and set their next year's buds.
Okay.
But if
I've been doing it wrong on my hydrangeas, big time.
Well, we just need to be sure of the type that we have because that influences then we're the time of year that we're going to prune.
Okay.
Because if I'm we have a limelight hydrangea and it's it gets to be 8 or 10 feet tall and about that wide, but it blooms on new wood, and so if we're going to prune it, then we're going to wait till late February or March to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I don't know. I kind of think, Mother's hydrangea, when she had her mom's hydrangea, it never got as big as her mama's. Her mother's was just beautiful. And I guess Mother was doing it wrong too. Because I think we were thinking that looks like dead wood is dead wood, and it's not always.
It's not always.
Oh, interesting. Well, in this, that one primarily is the one I'm thinking about because I've always just thought, well, that's dead wood. No, that needs to go. Okay, well, I'm going to leave my hydrangeas alone this year and kind of I'm going to look at it from a different perspective. But and you mentioned the crepe myrtles too. My crepe myrtles, I've had just I've cut them back and I just can't decide what I want to do with them. And they're old ones I got from somebody at a flea market years ago that they had suckered off of theirs. You know what I mean? It was that kind of thing. So they're old-fashioned crepe myrtles. But the stupid Japanese beetles just gave me a fit for a long time. And it would start blooming and then they'd just eat it up. And so I kind of gave up on them and I'm trying to let them regrow. Is it good to just cut them back to the ground and see how they come back? Can I take crepe myrtles like that, cut them back, and then let them come up and make me a crepe myrtle tree out of it? You know what I'm saying? Where you skin the bottom and have the fullness at the top. Can I recreate those to be that? Because that's kind of what I want there. But I'm like, I don't know if I can start over or what, because they're just a hot mess. What about those for crepe myrtles? You mentioned crepe myrtles.
Well, one of the methods that sometimes growers will use and homeowners will use is to do that if they're, your crepe myrtle just gets out of hand.
Yeah.
And you need to do something with it. And that's either take it out or, and sometimes, we have some winters sometimes that will kill crepe myrtles back to the ground anyway.
Yeah.
And because of a hard freeze and cause of splitting in the wood and that kind of thing. Well, what happens then? And you can just it's dead, so you're going to remove the dead wood, and even if it's not dead, if that's something that you want to do, kind of regenerate, then you can cut it back severely, and then they're going to be that new set of, I'll call it sucker growth, new growth that's going to emerge, and one of the specialists once upon a time talking about, well, what do you do then? Well, if you want to have a multi-stem, like most of them are 3 or 4 or 5 stems, then you let it grow that first year and you determine which 5 you want to keep.
Right.
And you get to the end of the growing season and you remove all of the rest of them.
Okay.
But if I wanted to have a single stem,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to let it grow, and I might even during the course of the year pick one and train it so that it becomes that single stem that I'm working toward.
Right.
And then just help train it along, and then it'll eventually get up to where you'll have some lateral growth.
Right.
Lateral growth and upward growth, and you'll have your
little crepe myrtle tree. But and I had the same situation with a buckeye. I have before my father passed, he had bought a buckeye tree at a farmer's market, flea market or something. Somebody suckered off of their stuff, or it had grown from the seed. But he had always wanted one and planted it. And because then we lost him very suddenly, and so it was real special to me to have something that he had purchased right before he passed. And so I brought some of the ones that had grown off of his and put in my yard. And so I've got one of those that's still just doing great. But I had one like right around my house, and as we were doing some moving and some reconstruction stuff, we had to take it out. We tried our best, and it had grown perfect. It was just perfect. And it was right there. It was just in the perfect spot. It was growing great, but we could not do what we needed to do and save it. I'm like, well, it'll grow back. So I let them cut it down. And I have tried 2 years now to get that thing retrained to give me just a straight, nice, straight tree. And I haven't gotten it yet. So I've got to really get on that early, don't I? And really train that one stalk that I want. Because I know I can do it. It's just it's that discipline when it comes to gardening. You have to be disciplined to get out there. I mean, do you go out in your garden every day and see what needs to be done? Or how often do you get out there really? How good are you at the discipline with your garden? Because that's a big part of it. That's one of the biggest fights.
Well, it's a huge time demand if we're going to really take care of our vegetable gardens and our landscapes and our lawns. But I do not go out every day. No.
Come on, I figured you did.
Maybe during those hottest and driest periods that we've had this year, though, some of those days that were just above the 90s and those dry stretches that we were having. One of our experiences this year, I mean, I'm in my 70s and tried growing vegetables in raised beds for the first time this year. And one of the things that I learned really quickly is if it's nice and you've got this media and it's draining really well, that those beds dry out really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And so the watering regimen, you have to take care of them or they're going to dry out pretty quick, just like you would have a container that you might have a plant or some nice annuals growing and blooming. But, after about a day or two, if it's really hot, and they'll dry out and be done quickly.
Yeah.
So
Mother would go out and, daily and water the flowers. She was just, she, like I said, her hydrangeas never looked like her mama's, and that may have been part of the problem. She may have been over pruning it. But she would go out just daily, really, and water flowers. And you need to do it either early or in the evening. You don't want to scorch things when it's too hot. Of course, we're not in that season right now. We're getting ready for fall. But before we run out of time, is there something else that you want to make sure people address at this time of the year? I've got a couple of questions, but do you have anything on your mind? You're like, oh, be sure and do this. Anything like that?
Well, for those of us that have cool season lawns, if you want to provide a fall fertilization, this is the time for the application of a complete fertilizer, one that includes nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And we're looking for just a little bit of taking care of that annual need that crop has, because it is a crop, and this is the best time of year to do that. So we're going to put, we might put 10 pounds of 10 pounds of triple 15 or triple 10, and that'll be enough nitrogen to encourage the growth that they need, but also potassium and the phosphorus, especially the potassium, and well, both of them working together to increase the mass in the root zone and encourage some tiller development too.
You mentioned 10 pounds to how much area though? Throughout triple 10, my daddy was always, it's triple 10, triple 10. That's what he would always recommend. But how 10 pounds per what size yard?
1,000 square feet.
Okay, 10 pounds per 1,000 square feet. I'd need a lot of fertilizer.
Right.
I might fertilize the area just around the house. We have our yard, and then we have the, the field,
Right.
The bush hog area.
Right.
So that's a little different.
Yes.
But any of the yards, pretty much any yard's going to benefit from a good triple 10 application, right?
And if I have Bermuda grass or zoysia, then I make that application in May.
Oh.
Because
okay.
I want to provide that nitrogen. If I'm going to do it once a year, then I want that nitrogen to be there during that plant's best growth period. And for Bermuda grass and zoysia, they're warm season perennial grasses, and they usually begin to wake up and get into their growing mode really about the 1st of June. So I want to make that fertilizer application a little ahead of that so that the nitrogen's already available and they can take advantage of it right immediately.
So can I determine, you said you have for winter yards, what would constitute a winter yard?
Fescue or bluegrass,
I kind of figured bluegrass for sure, but
so
what does that mean? We'll have some green through the winter?
yes.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the reasons that so many homeowners in Tennessee like fescue lawns, is because they never turn totally brown, and especially during the winter, because they're a cool season grass.
I kind of think we have fescue blue. I think we kind of have I don't know. I feel like we have some, like right by the house. I think we have probably a winter yard. I don't know. I'd have to. You could look at it and tell, couldn't you?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. But do you do house calls?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Come out and I may have to get you out there, Bob, and kind of take a look at my hydrangeas and all the things that I'm doing wrong, because I've got, I talked to you about my archway I'm trying to cover with ivy.
Yes.
And it's doing better. I put just some vines on there. I went over at Corbin and got some potato vines and put on there.
Oh yeah.
And it's been nice. It's been some nice, fun color to bring it along. Now, should I pull those vines down once they die, or should I just leave them on there, let them be part of the layering? Because it's like just the decorative potato vines. Should I leave those on there after they die?
No.
Anything, I should pull them down?
Yeah.
Okay. It'd be better.
Because they're done.
Okay.
They're done. That's not going to grow and emerge in the spring.
Does it leave, sometimes with a gourd vine or something like that, it's a good heavy kind of stick vine that can kind of weave in and be part of the permanent structure.
Oh, you're right.
But it won't be that. It'll be just like, ugh.
No.
Yeah, I kind of thought. Yeah, they've been pretty though, but I couldn't believe they survived that frost the other day.
Well, there you go.
I was stunned.
So
I was really surprised.
I guess we've just been surprised.
We've had some surprises this year.
But when I got up that morning, I just thought, well, this is going to be a frost that's going to happen, and everything's going to be done earlier than normal, because the normal first killing frost for us now is kind of evolved over these years to where now we really don't expect our killing frost to happen until right now, Halloween.
Okay.
That's become the new average date for us for the first killing frost.
Okay.
And it used to be, when I started working with its extension in 1978 and started doing horticulture in 1998. Well, it used to be in 1998, we'd think of, you'd have that first killing frost by the second week of October.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just and a meteorologist, an extension meteorologist in Kentucky, uh, shared a couple of years ago that our growing season is being extended on both ends,
Oh.
so that we're able to grow later in the fall before that first killing frost. And then in the spring, our springs are arriving sooner. The temperatures are arriving earlier
There you go.
so that, you know, April 15th is becoming a really good date.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it used to be, well, I don't plant anything that's a summer crop in my vegetable garden until after Mother's Day.
Yeah. That's always kind of been my standard too.
Yes.
Now, we were always a big fan of snap peas and things like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Of course, those are your winter stuff.
That's
and
right.
I saw Brian Pulley walk in. We're going to have to wrap it up. But just one more quick question. This is the perfect time to put out shrubs, though, isn't it?
Well, it's a good time to transplant or install
Mm-hmm.
shrubs so they can get settled in, and we're not anywhere near any extreme weather at this point. And also, if I'm planting bulbs for spring blooms, anytime now,
Right
during anytime the ground's not frozen between now and the first of the year, then we can take advantage of that.
Well, and I'll tell you, when it comes to digging, if you've never experienced, this is something I learned as a young person. You want to, dig in the ground right after a good saturating rain because it's so much easier to turn over that soil. Give it, let this rain get away, and then first of the week, go out there and dig your holes, and man, it'll be effortless. I mean, almost compared to when you have to dig in the ground and it's like hard as a rock. I can remember somebody was having a hard time digging a hole, and I was like, well, let it soak, put some water on it, and, just like it, drizzle some water for a couple of days, because it was like during the hot summer.
Sure.
And they were like, that worked like great. I'm like, yeah, you wet the soil and let it soak in, do like a little soaking hose on an area you're wanting to dig, put a soaking hose on there for, slow for a couple of days. And I look at this and I'm just like, what? My phone started talking to me. And it's amazing what a difference it'll make. And so, yeah, I would think first of the week would be a really good time. I'm talking to myself because I've got some shrubs I need to put in. So anyway, anything else, Bob, before we wrap up?
Well, I have Master Gardener training starting at toward the end of January. So someone who might be interested in the Master Gardener program, 40 hours of training, January through the end of April. It's a volunteer development program, but great opportunity to learn about horticulture broadly. So we talk about soils and trees and shrubs, flowers, lawns, vegetables, insects, diseases, soil testing, et cetera, et cetera. So anyone that's interested, they can send me an email, bobary@utk.edu.
One more time on that email.
BOBARY, so that's my name, @UTK.edu.
Very good. And you guys are not affected by the federal shutdown. Y'all are state.
Correct.
Yeah. Because I've got a question for you. We're trying to renew a dredging permit that we've had gravel on our creek. Do you know who? I've been reaching out to Tennessee Conservation, but some of the things last year we've had one for 5 years, and the renewals on it, they're asking me questions about stuff. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And I need to run some stuff by you and just say, who do I even ask for this piece of data? Because I mean, we just got, where I live, the gravel just piles up right there. And we need to dredge it. I mean, it just becomes a hot mess, right? And I think that they agree with us, but getting through the red tape of going, yes, you can continue to pull rock out right there, that's nonsense. It's crazy. But so if you get a call from me later, I've got some questions. You might be able to point me in the right direction. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this thing going.
Well, that's a TDEC question, Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation.
Yeah, and I've been in contact with them, but I don't know some of the things that are in there. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Topographical maps, a description of what I'm doing. I can do all that. And my brother works, he's a farmer, and he works with some of the wetland stuff, and I even ran it by him, and he's like, you need to call somebody to help you with this, LaVern. This is a little more beyond, I'm like, yeah. And we're into Brian's time. Thank you, Bob, so much.
welcome.
So fun talking to you. Appreciate you.
Great to be here. Thank
God
you.
bless you. Take care. And we'll have you back before your garden class starts back up.
Okay.
Absolutely, and promote it. I'll let him make the switch and let Brian come on in here. I haven't feel like I've been forever since I've talked to Brian Pulley. Looking forward to kind of catching up. But want to remind you to catch up with Brian and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. What do you want to know? What do you want to know about what's going on in the real estate community? You can sit down and talk to them. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. Because like me, they've been all over and they've got a diverse background, and so they just know a little bit about everything. And they're a lot of fun to work with. They work so much in the community. We talk about that all the time. Barry, we haven't talked a lot about his media marketing background lately. So let's just mention that again. But he was a media marketing vice president for 17 years up in Nashville. When he decided, his wife Rebecca went with real estate full time right after their kids went back to school. She was a radiologist, decided to give that up and go full time with real estate. And she's just been a rock star at it. One of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. But when he saw how well she did and how much she loved it, he went full time about 5-6 years ago now. And when he brings that marketing expertise to your property to make sure it is seen. The people shop for property the way they date. They do this little flip thing, and they just flipping through properties that are in the zip code that they're interested in or the street that they're interested in. And if it doesn't pop off the page, you may never get another look. So you need videography, photography, drone footage. People want drone footage for everything now. Walkthrough tours, all these things. Barry can make sure that it is done expertly so your property will not get lost in the clutter. When's the best time to buy? Anytime. Interest prices high, property prices will go lower. If the interest prices go down, property prices go up. Guys, it's always the same. It's always the best time to buy. Don't wait. Figure out what you want to do. You want to find out what you can qualify for if you're wanting to buy. If you're wanting to sell, you need to get a market analysis. They'll do a free market analysis and let you know what your property's worth. And is it a good time to go ahead and put your property on the market? They, again, specialize in Robertson County properties, but also buy and sell in the surrounding counties across the state line in Kentucky. Like me, they originally are from Kentucky, but they want to hear from you today. If you want to reach out, you can go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or you can go to buy, robertsoncounty.com. You can give them a call, and if I can, you think I get the number? The phone number's not coming up. Brian, do you know it off the top of your head?
I should.
Everybody tells me
If the
they're like,
sunshine was out this morning, it might come to me, but the rain's got me a little foggy.
I know,
so.
it's got us all kind of foggy, but it's so funny. Well, I'm pulling up. Now my internet's finally, it's like 615-504-7425. I started to just spiel it off, but 615-504-7425 for Barry and Rebecca Richards. That's Rebecca's number. Oh, and they've also, they've got a big thing I want to mention. They have got a Halloween drive-through today. I'm just seeing this. 5 to 8 p.m. because I popped up their social media page. But it's today, 5 to 8 p.m. at 610B, Highway 76 in White House, hosted by Exit Prime Realty. So come on by, and this would be a great opportunity to go by and see them. A Halloween drive-through today, 5 to 8 p.m. at 610B, Highway 76 in White House, hosted by Exit Prime Realty. We'll try to mention that again before we wrap up. But what a great day to go by and see them and let them know U-Turn sent you. Brian Pulley, where you been, man?
Good morning. Working. We're busy in a good way. Yeah, we're grateful. So we're out seeing the people right now, and it's been amazing. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this fall and been around our partner agencies and our corporate partners and just seeing everybody pull together and what they're doing and try to make a little difference in the community. It's been beautiful to see. It really inspires you. It really does. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So were you weren't in last week?
No. Where were I? don't know.
We had the wedding.
You had the wedding. Congratulations. Everything go well?
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Just spectacular. Down in Huntsville, our youngest son is married to his sweet Savannah.
You shed some happy tears?
Oh, of course. Of course. But anyway, I'm getting what in the world? I just all of a sudden saw some notes from Paul. I was talking to Bob, our master gardener, and I'm getting some hydrangea feedback from my friend Paul Rainey. And then Aaron Slate we were talking about, harvesting and stuff. And he says, exciting news from the ag world. China has agreed to purchase 12 million metric tons of U.S. soybeans this season.
Okay.
All right. There you go.
Yeah.
way to go. We harvested some soybeans up in Kentucky. Yay.
Yeah, take them. Please buy them. Yeah.
Thank you, and come on.
Yeah, come get them. Come get them. Take them. Yeah.
Come get them. But anyway, I missed those messages, but anyway, that's great news. So
yeah, it's great news.
Anyhow, so you've had a lot of fun. You've been seeing all the people and
yes, it is
all that.
Campaign season for us.
How much longer does that run?
Through Thanksgiving, typically. Okay. Like once we get the holidays, like most in corporate structures, they've got their year-end stuff and people are taking off, and it's just like anywhere else. It's just kind of December is just a scattered month for all of us with family and just the kids stuff and church stuff and everything that we do. It's just so it's the same in there, and they try to get everything wrapped up. I used to have some that ran in December, but I don't this year. They've kind of all got them in earlier, which has made this fall busier, but it's good. Like I said, it's I've been here 6 years now, and I have never been inside of more companies and talked to more people than I have this year.
That's awesome.
And I think what people are seeing, obviously there's a lot of stuff going on in the news right now, and they're trying to figure out how they can help and what they can do. And there's a lot of need, and what we can do personally, and which, I think is a blessing in that we maybe are looking at things a little differently and thinking, okay, what can I do personally to step up? And our volunteerism, I think, is up. I've had more companies ask about volunteering personally, not just, hey, we'll collect a few things and is there a place we can drop it off, that kind of stuff, which is great. We love that. But we would prefer, especially with, the workforce, the younger workforce, to get them involved, because I feel like, just this is my personal opinion, but when you get them involved at an earlier age, when they first get into the workforce, you create volunteers long term, and they get a taste of that. They get a taste of helping their community. They get a taste of getting out and like not just hearing about some of the things going on or issues that may be happening in their community, but actually seeing them firsthand and being around them and being around the people that are on the front lines every day that are serving in their community, and to be around those people. I think it does something to you. It inspires you, and it makes you want to keep doing it and do more. And I think that's the way we all get a little better. So it's been really encouraging to see. People ask me all the time, so how, because nonprofits, like, how are you guys doing? I was like, for me personally, I can't speak for everybody on my team, but for me personally, it's been probably my best year just in general. And I don't measure it necessarily in dollars. We have to raise dollars. That's great. And that's been good too, but more in the engagement piece of it. And what I'm seeing and people's attitudes and people, just their energy, I think has been really good this year. I mean, there's couple, campaign season, I feel like I'm pulling teeth a little bit to get people to do stuff. And I'm almost being a burden by offering some of these things. And it's the reverse. I can't keep up. And I'm trying to create opportunities, and we're trying to make sure that we have plenty of opportunities for people to get involved. And that leads me to our thing that we've got coming up, which is it's going to be called Season of Sharing. Mm-hmm. So it's taking the place of Give Thanks a little bit. We listen to our partner agencies. A lot of our food banks and people that distribute food, they get inundated during the holidays with a lot of supply, which is great. And this year especially, we all know we're going to need that. What they don't have is people a lot of times to help with that, all of those distributions and getting that out. And then January, February, they're sitting there going, okay, we're still here. There's still needs, you know what I mean? So we tried to listen to our partners and get their needs. And so what we have done is created a program, and I'll share more about this, where we have just a series of volunteer opportunities throughout our 9-county footprint. And so Hands on Nashville has created a platform and a site for this, and you are able to click on this link, and then you scroll down, and then there is just a plethora of opportunities to get involved and do everything, to prepare meals, to sort just whatever you name it, it is. It has the numbers on there as far as how many volunteer numbers they need, the dates. Some of them are ongoing. Mm-hmm. And so you can just I've got a company that wanted something on a very specific date. And so this was an ongoing opportunity. So we were able to just plug them in. So it's Monday through Friday, 9 to 12, they do it every week. So it's we need volunteers literally every day of the week during the week. So that's going to, we're still collecting food if people want to do that. I've got some companies that's hey, we want to do, collect food for the United Ministries here locally. We'll do that anytime you want to do it. That's never going to go away. But we feel like this, we're trying to get people plugged in on a volunteer, and there would be some collections tied to some of them, so that you still have that aspect of it. But we feel like this is a way to get people really plugged in that want to get out in the community. And if you say you want to volunteer, the platform they've created, there's no excuse. It's pretty much anything you could possibly want to do. And so I will share the link up under the comments here, and people can click. And it's really easy. You click the link. There's gonna be a big page full of little boxes that have different volunteers. Has the county, has the dates, has the number of volunteers needed. You click in that box, you sign up, you're good. So
bridge builder to the nonprofits.
It's and our partners have loved it because they need people. I mean, that's it. They need manpower. I mean, I was at a kickoff yesterday, and shout out to Cumberland Electric here in Robertson County. They're running their campaign right now. And Sherry Martell with United Ministries came with me, and they need help. They need people. She always needs help. They were unloading a truck that morning. In the rain. They got stuff going on, and so we want to try to take as much of that. Yes, we want to fund them. That's part. I'm going out when I go talk to people. Sherry's one of the people I think about because they're a volunteer-run organization that feed people in our community. I can't think of a better way to use your hands and feet. We talk about the hands and feet of Jesus. That's it right there. They're literally feeding hungry people. And so when I go out and talk to people and try to raise money, I'm thinking about her because that's completely volunteer-run over there, and we want to make sure they have all the funding that we can possibly give them. But also, they're out there unloading trucks in the rain. You know what I mean? And so they need help doing that. I've helped over there a little bit. I've got family members that's helped over there a little bit. I know people that helped. I promise you it's a rewarding experience. And there's United Ministries places all over Middle Tennessee. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of places you can get plugged in.
The same type of thing.
That's what I'm talking about. That are just small volunteer-run nonprofits that are serving their community and been serving them forever, and got people up there that have been serving them forever that don't get paid a dime, that are just trying to serve their community, and they just need some help. They need some help financially. That's where we try to come in. They also need some help with people because, there's only so much, that core group of volunteers they can do. And so if you're able-bodied, and even if it's a one day a week, you can go up there for 2 hours, I promise you they will appreciate it. And so it's just cool. And we'll continue to talk about it, and I think we're going to add to it as we go. There'll be more opportunities on there. It's going to be ongoing, but we're going to be running that from now through the end of the year. I think even into January, to try to create some volunteer opportunities for people. Everybody wants to do stuff around the holidays. That's great because you're filled with the Spirit. That's beautiful. We'll have opportunities there. After the new year, there's still going to be need.
You better believe
we'll still have opportunities there. So I'll share that link. We're excited about it. Excited just to get people plugged in and get them. And I think once you get a taste of it again, if you've never volunteered or never jumped out there and you're like, I don't know if I know how to do this, or, you kind of leery of it, I promise you it'll change your life. Just give it a chance. And the first thing you do might not be for you, but there will be something that you'll find and you're needed. I promise you you're needed.
Well, what you just said about, you may try something and be like, oh, this didn't feel quite right. Within that organization, I guarantee there's other jobs you can have.
100%.
Sherry, if you're like, okay, I can't handle coming off this truck and
right.
loading the truck, it's just a little too much because it is hard work.
Yeah.
Well, then checking people in.
Right.
Just doing the, helping with the
line, greeting people. I mean, they will find, if you want to help, I promise you, I've been nonprofit a long time. If you want to help, they will find a place they could use you. There is a place for you. I promise you.
Well, it's just like my father's house.
Yep.
If you're not somebody that can cook and bring food in or do a devotional one night, consider being one of the ones that spends the night, because that's a huge need. And that's something, maybe just come and spend the night with them. But if that's like way outside your comfort zone, then maybe you can just make a meal or just, assign people in. There's just so many different jobs.
And they need you. And I think perspective a lot of times is we get caught up in our own stuff and go, oh man, this is hard or whatever. And then you see somebody live in a different way, and it changes the way you look at your own life, and I think there's opportunity there. We had a gentleman come speak to our church Sunday from Kenya that runs a ministry there. What they do is he's a pastor, but they literally bake bread to raise money to be able to do the things they need to do, and also just to feed people.
Yeah.
And then they'd also operate for clean. They're doing stuff for clean water, just so people get drinking water. He has 7 children. He lives in a metal shack, basically, with a dirt floor. I've never met a man more peaceful and have more faith in God than that man. I had dinner with him Saturday night.
Wow.
And you talking about like perspective, you know what I mean? And I'm over here going, summertime, my AC went out for a couple of hours. It's the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life. But you know what I mean? It was sweating. This man, you know what I mean? So it's just,
I do. It's
you know,
like, yeah,
it just changes your deal. And there's people right here in our community, and I think there's also a misperception on how a lot of these people ended up in the positions they've ended up in. And we think, oh, they're just lazy, or, you know, they're drug addicts or whatever they are. And it's like, you know, you don't know their story. They have a story. And a lot of times they were just like me and you, and life threw them a couple bad pieces there, and it put them in a hole, and they're fighting their way out of it. And they need some help to get out of that hole. And so I think it's our responsibility, especially if you call yourself a Christian, to help people in that regard. And if you're around them a little bit, it changes you. You know, I was the same way. I worked in college athletics, you know what I mean? I was around a bunch of athletes and jocks and stuff for 15 years. And so I worked at United Way. It was an eye-opener. I was 2 weeks on the job, and I went to a domestic abuse shelter that used to be here in Springfield, and a family had just came in the night before, and I heard their story, and it literally rocked me. And that was it. I realized this is not hypotheticals. These aren't numbers. We're talking about, these are people, real people, and they just had a bad deal, man. She married the wrong person, you know, and was scared for her life, you know, and her kid's life, and it changes the way. And she didn't do anything wrong, you know. It just she
trusted the wrong.
Person. Exactly.
The wrong person. Yeah. Story after story after story, and you'll learn these stories, guys, if you get involved in some of these organizations. It's like Brian was saying, if you've never served, just put your toe in the water and start, and you're going to think, how in the world did I ever function without getting involved in people's lives and being a part of that world, because it is so fulfilling. You get so much more out of it than you give. You just hands down. We're talking with Brian Pulley with United Way, and it's the first chance we've had to talk in weeks.
Couple weeks, yeah.
So it is nice. I love something you mentioned earlier, and I just kind of bring this back around from my school teacher perspective. We're out of school Monday for professional development. And then Tuesday, I've been telling my kiddos, I don't know if this is a district-wide thing. Is that a parent-teacher meeting thing for y'all? Do y'all have school for the kiddos?
No school, and I have 2 parent-teacher conferences that day, which kind of works out good because they're in the middle of the day and a time I can squeeze them in around lunchtime, and I kind of appreciate it because the nighttime we always had to juggle with the 2 kids and all that.
Exactly. So the district has, I've told my kids, though, it's not a day off. You're supposed to come with your parents to parent-teacher meetings.
Oh, we're bringing ours. Yeah.
Exactly.
I was like, I want to hear what your teachers got to say. Yeah.
And so that's what I've been telling the kids. They say, so we have to come? And I'm like, technically, no. But because it's a school day, really. And so, but I told the kids, I said, I think something that really hit me as I was putting the newscast together for my kids to present, because we have to pre-record our news for Wednesday. And I got to looking at how many days of school are left in this semester. And when they get back to school on Wednesday, there's only 29 days left in the fall semester. 29.
Why are you doing that to me?
I'm just telling you.
Right.
At first, I thought there were 30, but then we get off on December 2nd for election, because we've got this special election because a Representative Green stepped down, and so we've got to go to the polls on December 2nd. Schools will be closed. We'll be treating it as a snow day, which from what Bob was saying, we're not going to get any snow days this year, so we better take them.
Okay.
Use them. He says it's going to be mild.
Who is that from the almanac?
No, this is the Guard Master.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know, but he says some of the things that he's seen is saying we're going to have a more mild.
I trust that.
That doesn't mean that we won't have the moisture hit at the cold moment,
right?
And still give us a few days off. We're hoping. Now that I'm a teacher, man, I dig snow days.
Hey, it's a nice little reset because it's usually a bleak time of year anyway in January, and to get one of those, nice little. The best ones that come in are like a Friday afternoon, and it kind of gets you out that day, and then it's gone by Sunday, and then you kind of get back to your schedule, and you just got a weekend around the house to play in the snow, and then just look at it, it's beautiful. And then it can, for all I care, that can be it for the year. But I do enjoy a snow day every once in a while. So.
I like it better when it comes in on Thursday and we get a couple of days going in.
Well, you got to go. You in there in the trenches, so I don't have to deal with
what I get to do is such a blessing.
I know.
I'm
playing.
Such a blessing.
Yeah.
I love working with these kiddos. I love being a teacher. I keep reminding everybody when they're like, they're just always patting me on the back for being a teacher. I'm like, I'm an audio video teacher. I am not teaching math, science, social studies, history. I get to play with cameras and let the kids get in front and do the news and do short films. We get to have fun. I am playing with these. I'm playing.
But you never know the seeds that you're planting and like what some of these kids are going to do with that. You know what I mean? And then the effect that they're going to have on other people too. I was in that world a little bit, and like I mean, I watched multiple people come as interns, didn't really know what they want to do, get involved in that, and now years later they have very good careers in that industry, doing video work or doing stuff. It was athletics, so we were doing a lot of stuff with that. But like, I mean, they've made a career raising a family in that industry, and they came to me as a kid. I don't know what to do, college kid, you know what I mean, and hadn't even really run a camera before. But they had a natural. Once they got in it, they realized they liked it and were interested in it, and kind of picked it up pretty quick, and then took some classes, and rest is history. So,
well, see, and that's the one thing I've been notorious for talking some of them out of it.
Yeah.
Because it's a super competitive industry, and it's tough.
It is.
And I had a kid tell me he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and I said, you do understand you're going to probably be an independent contractor. You won't have benefits. I said, I mean, I want you to know the reality of it. It's a fun industry. I had so much fun.
Oh yeah.
And you did too. But it's one of those things. You're going to travel.
Travel a lot.
You're going to.
So it knocked me out of it.
Got to be prepared for what it is. And so I speak that into them and make sure they understand the reality of it. And I said, I want you to live your dream. Don't let anybody tell you can't have a dream. And anybody can do it. Lawrence Jones, the guy on Fox News that is just like a superstar. When I was at the Blaze, that guy was coming in doing free stints on the Blaze with Dana Lash. And I mean, he was in there just trying to get some screen time. That guy's making millions of dollars and super successful now. And so, and that's just been 10 years ago. That has been just a minute. And he was able to do that. So, yes, you can do it.
You can.
But I don't know. I didn't mean to get off on that. But we just have so much fun. What else have you got before we wrap up time here? We got a minute.
We're about at it now. I think I want to bring in someone. I heard a talk. We had a meeting with our partner agencies last week. We try to do a quarterly meeting. We have lunch, and we have a speaker, and it's with all the people here in Robertson County that we work with, all the other nonprofits. And the presentation, and we've mentioned this in here before. I think Ace have talked about it. I know Catherine has, about ALICE, which is, if you don't know, is Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed. And so I really want to bring somebody. It was an eye-opening talk for me. Robertson County, I looked at numbers, and so what ALICE is basically like you're working, you have a job, and you're above the poverty level, but you don't have enough money to cover your basic expenses. Right. And I don't think if you hadn't had kids in a while either, I don't think people understand how expensive daycare is. And couple that with our housing costs, and it's like you can see real quick why you wouldn't have any money. And so right now, I think Robertson County, it says our ALICE households are 34%, which is the state average is about 30%. And then we have about 10% of our households in poverty, which is 44% total for our county are either in poverty or in ALICE, 34% of that being ALICE. And that means they have jobs, they're working. You know what I mean? You may look at them and go, okay, they have a home, but they don't have enough money to even cover what they're doing, and they're trying to, that's a flat tire throws you into a complete, disarray. And so I'm going to bring in, I don't pretend to understand it at the level I need to even speak on it, but it impacted me, made me think about things a little differently. And so I'd love to bring somebody in here just to speak about that. I think it helped me just understand some of the issues that we may be having. And so when we hear things in the news, we go, we might form opinions without, like, these are hard numbers. And these are just like, if you make a certain amount of money and things cost a certain amount of money, it's just math. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's not like the people are doing everything correctly. They're doing what they've been told to do, but yet the costs are, the salary and pay is not keeping up with what things are costing, basically. Right. And so that's an economical issue, and there's a lot of factors in that. But I'm going to line that up, and we'll do it because I think she needs to do like 30 minutes on that. And I think it would be great. It just I'd heard talks before, but not one like this to that depths, and just specifically our county too. And she went in. You can break it in even in zip code, so you can see the areas that are impacted the most right here in our county. And it was just really informative for me. I learned a lot from it, and just how when I go talk to people that are giving us money. kind of how we frame it a little bit better in some of our needs and the reason that maybe people are in that position and maybe things we can do to help. So I'd love to bring her in. She was amazing. Yeah, she was really good. I love being around smart people that are just like know their stuff so well and all that. And so I aspire to be one of those people one day. But she was so good at what she did. Yeah, right. We're working at it. So I'd love to bring her in and do that. Maybe one day when Catherine can sit with her because Catherine's in that world as well. Yeah. So yeah.
And I tell you, I really appreciate the ones that you've set up to come in, you know, and just because we talked about VITA, we had a woman from VITA in this week, or week before last, and just some great conversations we've had with some of your partners around, and so I really appreciate you guys doing that. Y'all do such a great job helping.
Yeah, we just want to get the word out there. I didn't think. When I first started the United Way, I was like, these people can't be like this nice and dedicated with it. You know, when are they going to start? This is who they are, and they just it amazes me every day, the dedication and not just the people who work for us, but people, our partner agencies. They care about what they do, and they're out there doing it every day, and they don't do it for any other reason besides what's in their heart. And so any opportunity that we get to help them or let them get their word out and let people know what they're doing and make other people aware of the resources available, because we have a lot of people that don't know things are available. It's like, I didn't know that was even available. So that's the worst. Like, we were hear that. It's like, well, I didn't even know y'all had that. We don't want that to ever happen. Right. At the very least, we want you to know about it. And so that if the need ever does arise, you know that it's here.
So tell them how they can get in touch with y'all.
You can call me 615-780-2401, 615-780-2401. You can come see us. We're on the corner of 5th and Main, right there in the 4-H building on the basement side. And we're there sporadically a little bit right now because what we're supposed to be doing, which is out seeing people. But you can always reach me. That number right there, go straight to my cell phone. You have any questions, just give me a call, 615-780-2401.
And that's the same building that Bob Airy's in.
That's it. We're having Thanksgiving dinner with them.
Yeah,
we have Thanksgiving dinner every year.
It's the same location.
That's
so we're
right.
all just like it's been our theme today.
We love our 4-H partners up, and they're a partner of the United Way. We love what they do with the kids. So
so many good things, and you can always just call 211.
Call 211 when in need.
More about what's going on with
United
Way. So thank you,
yes, ma'am.
Brian
Thank
Pulley, United Way, being a part of our show today. Thank y'all for joining us, and I hope you'll join us tomorrow for. I'm not sure what. Oh, yeah. Steve Hemphill's coming on.
Nice.
Our spiritual warfare guy.
Nice.
I booked that weeks ago.
Get your armor on.
Yeah, Steve Hemphill. And I haven't checked in with him, but I'm assuming he's still good for tomorrow. But he'll be a phone call interview for us, so we'll be checking in about spiritual warfare because, man, Halloween's a lot of fun, but you better keep Jesus in it, y'all. Come on. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless.